The crypto market right now is crazier than ever, with a lot of coins in the top right now going down significantly throughout the last few days. You'd kind of think that right now the entire market should be looking bad. But if we're looking on the opposite side, there's actually a couple of coins like this XCN coin, 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗡, and actually a couple of other ones that are seeing double-digit gains right now. And again, for the most part, it seems to be because on the one hand, Bitcoin is not setting a new high. It's staying basically at the $100,000 range. But at the same time, many bullish announcements have come out, which make people wonder, why aren't we going crazy? But on the opposite side, it also doesn't really make them sell, right? Most people I've spoken to right now, they're basically in a state of, whoa, what is going on with AI? There's many new advancements happening in the background that might affect tech stocks. And they're saying, well, since everything right now is so great, why aren't we going up? And I've tackled this a few days in a row now, but looking at the market, you can see almost all of our top coins right now, a lot of the utility coins as well, they're not doing so well, even though we'd expect them to do so. Now, is that a bad thing? Should we be worried? The simple answer is, I always use these opportunities to stack up on coins that I like, because I keep realizing, and I will keep saying this over and over again, probably every single day. If I get to buy coins like Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP really, or even Solana at prices akin to what we're seeing here, I'd kind of be crazy not to when I think about where these things are going to be in the future. I mean, you've probably seen it, all the announcements the last few days of Wall Street and all these different companies, all these different sectors wanting to join our crypto game, and basically Trump opening those floodgates, opening those doors. One thing I've learned over time is that Trump is definitely a man to make himself more wealthy if the chance arises. And if he can do so through crypto, he'll probably do it. Again, those are my insights on the matter. And if it benefits him by being able to shift it to benefiting the country by allowing for these digital assets to thrive, it'll most likely happen. And I mean, I don't have to talk about the current bull market again in comparison to the previous one, but let me just remind you that even though you might not be so excited because we're not super cycling, we're not actually doing that bad. We're quite on par with the schedule. And just again, think about where we're going to be in 6 to 9 months from now, not where we're going to be at tomorrow or next week. I mean, when you really start looking at the announcements of the past few days, one of them was, for example, CZ from Binance saying, hey, you know what? Here's an unpopular opinion. But all governments should track all their spending on the blockchain. And immutable public ledger, it's called public spending for a reason. And kind of funnily enough, at the same time, there was also Elon Musk exploring, through his DOGE, blockchain use in U.S. government efficiency push, because at that point, it cannot be, lied about, basically. It cannot go that inefficiently if everything is officially tracked like that. And Ansem said the only viable blockchain for this use right now would be Solana, and it's not, and it isn't particularly close. Now, I would very much disagree. There are many different blockchains that could do it. The only thing is, Solana is what a lot of people know, right? But there's most likely 1,001 different options, because essentially it doesn't have to be a popular blockchain for it to be doing well. I mean, you could literally pick any blockchain really, and it will probably work, except for maybe Bitcoin and some of the other proof of work ones, which might be too slow or too strict. Then again, I would also not pick those, mostly for the reason that there's a couple of different efficiency benefits to other chains. Regardless though, if we're saying tracking on chain, for example, that could be pretty cool. And here we don't actually know what type of thing he'd use blockchain for. It really depends. But when you really start seeing announcements like that and you're thinking, yeah, I might need to sell everything off here because we're going to be chopping, that's kind of funny to me. Anyway, another video came out from the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong. He says, Bitcoin is a better form of money than gold. Do you agree? Well, theoretically speaking, gold is one of the worst forms of money, unless you're talking about in the form of coins. But really, buying a house with gold is quite cumbersome. Think about buying a $20 million mansion with freaking gold, man. That's a pretty big chore. You can write it over from one person to another, but theoretically speaking, to bring that gold and give it, that's theoretically speaking the transaction of money there, right? Because you're talking about the underlying asset. Whereas with Bitcoin, there is no real thing you can touch, so essentially it is easier. And if we're talking, I could talk for hours about why Bitcoin is a better store of value than gold in a lot of ways. But again, you can just understand why he's saying that or why it does make sense. But at the same time, by the way, because we just talked about Elon Musk perhaps using blockchain, he also met up with public blockchain representatives to evaluate their technology, Bloomberg reported. So that was also pretty cool. Anyway, real talk, let's continue on. So people have often asked me, what is my target for XRP then for like this year? Because there's a very different, I guess, question if we're talking about how high do I think it will eventually go. Similarly with Bitcoin, similarly with Ethereum, or XLM from that matter, or ADA, versus where do I think it's going to go within like 2025. And that's again where I kind of, I guess, say the same thing almost every single video. It's a matter of, we do not know when the highest point exactly will be. We're not sure if it's going to be January of 2026 or even May of 2025, for example. But I believe it's going to be somewhere within that time frame, meaning we most times, if we're talking about a crypto bull run, have about 3 years of up, 1 year of down, right? And in the midst, some stuff happens. But I still basically follow this as a general rule of thumb. And if that's the case, then we expect the highest point to be somewhere between July and let's just say January or so of 2026, especially now that Trump came in. It's basically confirmed that another crazier run is going to be coming, in my own humble opinion. And I've stated before, I think Bitcoin from this point on forward can easily double, and that we always look at the XRP or XLM versus Bitcoin chart and always kind of say, hey, you know what? It's probably not going to go back to old dominance levels because the entire market became so much more filled that relatively it will not get such a big market cap versus Bitcoin anymore, as Bitcoin will also go down and just many alts will, over the entire market, probably lose percentage. And I think Bitcoin will stay relatively strong though, but many more alts will take the position that some of these big altcoins before had. I mean, if you only had 1,000 options and Bitcoin, obviously every 1,000 option basically had a bigger pie, I should say smaller pie to compete with. Basically now it's way bigger. That doesn't mean that XLM, for example, couldn't outperform Bitcoin anymore. I do believe it will, but I'm just saying it might not actually outperform over what has happened in the past anymore, but it could, right? I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying as a baseline, I don't hold it like that. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, let's just say we take a pretty low value. For example, if we take some of the middle values here of 2018, it will be, for example, right here, would be about a 10x or so for XLM versus Bitcoin. As again, this is the XLM versus Bitcoin chart. So if you take the current value, multiply it by about 10, and then also get Bitcoin and multiply by 2, means about a 20x or so for XLM here that I do see happening somewhere this cycle. And the same can be applied to XRP. The same can be applied to multiple of these coins. I just see some crazy gains still happening because it seems that right now are some of the weeks where most of the new users are coming in. They'll still take some time to really acclimate, I guess, and really set themselves right, snuggle themselves right. But I do believe right now we're in the process of seeing that here. And right now we're seeing mostly a bit of a chop because nobody knows the next move. But I guess it's almost always like that. Most people give up just before things get really crazy. And usually there's a beautiful saying for it, but I don't know it off the top of my head. It's like beautiful things always come after darkness, something along those lines. It's kind of like here as well. We're not even seeing darkness just quite yet. I have said before we could see some more choppiness in the sense that a pretty big downturn because many people are afraid. They're scared of what's going to happen, which is why I do not believe we're at the top of the market, but I do believe we might see a bit of a chop due to an overreaction as the prices start falling. Now, why do I see some coins like XRP and ADA holding stronger than many other ones? Many other coins are up a ton, right? But some of the coins like XRP are actually not down as much from the new high points as other coins. Why? Mostly because of community. I've stated before, XRP, Cardano, XLM, Hbar, they have some of the most crazy communities in crypto. And that's a good thing because they don't sell. And what I mean with that, these people also on profit, right? Yes. But if your goals are so ridiculously high and you've been holding for such a long time, a 10% gain, a 15% gain, a 600% gain is not that much to you because your goals are way higher. Two things that happen. One, if things go down, first of all, it's a waste to sell now because you could have sold higher. But you didn't come in yesterday. You're not afraid, so you're going to hold on through. That's on the one hand. On the opposite side, it's a matter of, well, I need to get so much more out of it. Why would I sell now? And if you combine everything together, if you have a crazy army of delusional bulls, which mostly happen from coins being around for a long time, witnessing many 90% slashes, and then going on a crazy run, it ignites a new euphoria in people. That kind of is contagious because if I talk to XRP people right now, most of them say, no, we've not seen anywhere close to the top yet. It's going to go so crazy. And you might not think, oh, but that's euphoria. That's when things topple over, which for a lot of coins would be true if there's mostly new people joining, which was again, back when we went to $2.90 the first time, I said, ooh, this is kind of scary because it was mostly new people and the price went too much of a spiral. And then things crashed again for about $1 or so it went down. Right now, if we're taking a look at trends, for example, trends are going down. XRP is losing some popularity, but the price went rushing and crazy. That's the perfect balance. Not that many new people who are afraid, who sell quickly, who don't know what they want, who are delusional in a bad sense because they do not know what's realistic to expect and they think it will only go up. No, you want delusional in the sense that they think it's going to go way further, but they're not afraid of things falling down. And a couple of coins like XRP, ADA, XLM, just some of the dinosaur coins, they often call it, because they're older, they've gone on many rallies before. Those have some of the best risk-rewards ratios for specifically that reason. And they also go down significantly less than many other coins, specifically for that reason. And they can enjoy many crazy, massive runs for the reason that most people are not satisfied to sell. It's mostly new people joining in because of this propensity to hold, basically. And then every single time there's an uptick, if there's really mostly just people hyping in and getting in because they also believe this now more, and most people do not sell, there's only a small portion of sellers who are mostly the short-term speculators or people who are now cashing out because it's high enough. But I think a lot of that really cashing out because it's high enough will only happen further down the bull run. We also see more of that with some of our main coins and Ethereum, for example, topping out more so, which will happen after an all-time high. For example, for XRP, it could be closer towards a psychological $10 that people really would start slashing their portfolios more. But right now, I think most people think it's going to go so much higher that they're not so keen to sell. And I agree for the most part. I think we're not that high yet. I still think we have maybe even a 10x to go this cycle. It could be even more, funnily enough. And people look at me every single time. They say, Dusty, why are you so delusional? I keep saying, well, I've looked at the numbers. It's not that crazy for it to do, for example, an 8x from here. It wouldn't even look weird in the entirety of the market. Just for fun, if you take a look at the market cap right now, XRP could, for example, just triple here. It'd be slightly above Ethereum. It's already at $10 then almost, and nobody would really look weird. I mean, people would hate it, sure, but market-wise, it wouldn't be an odd thing to happen. But then if you also think about it from the perspective that Bitcoin goes up significantly here, for example, to $5 trillion, and then a coin taking up a pretty relatively bigger part of that market value. Or again, if we're just putting a bit more of a delusional target on it, we put a $10 trillion Bitcoin because we know it's happening. It brings some of those previously seen XRP numbers back. A lot of people don't understand. A coin could actually take 80% of Bitcoin's value purely because of excitement. I'm not sure it's going to happen. I don't believe a coin will get that close anymore. I don't think XRP is, for example, quickly going to overtake the coin, but it could happen. It could literally happen that you have a coin like Bitcoin, grandfathered in, sure, but then another coin that's worth less in most people's eyes and is not actually maybe as useful even, could do better. It's happened before in many other sectors, right? You could have NVIDIA, for example. There's a chance that there's another company out there, some small Chinese shop, whatever, that makes better stuff than what they do, for example, right? But not that many people actually know. It's one part of the principle, but the other part is, whoa, my voice. Just because a company like Yahoo, for example, was the #1 all the time, and everybody knew that as the shit, wow, doesn't mean they won't get overtaken by something else at some point in the future, even though objectively they might actually still have the best database, the best data. Maybe another one just has a better interface, a better this or that, and just takes over. Another good example is CoinMarketCap, which we often use. Even though it's good now, it doesn't necessarily have to be the top in a few years. It could actually get overtaken, even though I do not see it happening ever in the future. It could, and that's something I often keep in the back of my head. That people say, no, but it couldn't get to 40% of Bitcoin's market cap. I reply saying, why not? Why could it not get to 50 or 60 or 70% of its market cap? It could overtake it. Again, I'm not predicting now that it will. I'm just saying nothing is stopping it from doing so, right? It just now happens that the coin, which has always been a #1, stays a #1, but it doesn't necessarily have to stay like that forever. I don't want to put that in your head, though, that this is going to happen. I'm just saying, all these people have all these rules for, no, this is certainly, but most people really don't know. Just like how I'm not sure it's ever going to be overtaken, but I'm just saying there's nothing essentially stopping it from happening. And a lot of people like to deny that. They say, no, nothing can ever beat Bitcoin. And I respond saying, well, just because you think it's better doesn't mean it can't be beaten. Doesn't mean another coin can't actually get a higher market valuation than the better coin. But yeah, story for a different day. That's just about it. Just want to quickly bring some thoughts to y'all for today, because there's not so much news going on except for maybe some Elon Musk stuff. But the market's mostly just indecisive and kind of negative. But I guess maybe one more chop, maybe we just go back up. I know, though, the moment we start going up again, the most comments would just say, oh, should I still buy? Should I still buy? But when things are going down or sideways, nobody wants it. I'm enjoying sideways, though, because it means we can juice up our position. So I'm excited for it. Even though a lot of you guys don't like it, I think it's quite good. But yeah, that's about it for right now.